Okay, Mr. Stevens, what say you, son?
Um, well, um, just so everybody knows, I come to talk to Darnell or Dr. Bolton, also known on a regular basis. Whenever I come, he gives me I can't even put a number on the amount of jewels I've been given. And so we were sitting down in the garage. I said, this is worthy of being recorded. So I'll ask him now on camera,
Mhm.
did you imagine your life playing out the way that it did in your youth? Like when you were my age, between, let's just say between 24 and 26, could you see yourself, multiple degrees, PhD, a professor now, a person that's, you know, doing academic writing and things like that? Did you imagine something like that for yourself in your youth? Can you elaborate on what you seen and what you thought?
I thought, in answer to your question, my life turned out better than I ever thought it would.
Really?
Yeah. Because I thought I was gonna have a lot of money. I thought I was gonna be like rich, 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 rich.
Okay.
And I got something better than that. Like my kids. The only thing money is for them. Like my kids is like the greatest thing ever. I never I couldn't imagine the reward of children. So that I never saw myself getting married.
Mm.
I wouldn't be who I am if I did not marry. Not only would not be married, but if I didn't marry who I married. And that is a whole different level of fulfillment that money doesn't compare to. So just in that alone, um, I did 25, 26, money, 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 money. It was shallow and it was short sighted. Money allows you to spend your last 3 years of your grandmother's life with her. She is what was valuable. That time was what was valuable, not the money. So you begin to find out you make and spend money every day. Money is that plentiful. It's either a lot of money, it's a little money, but it's always money.
Right.
But to see you as a man, I remember when your mother told me she was pregnant with you. And now I'm looking at you and I'm seeing your dad, which is totally freaked out. And it's like, that's, how you view life as a 26-year-old. Man, when you get over 50, it's a whole nother look. And so success is different. The fact that you still even want to come see me when you come in town, that tells me I'm that guy. More so than degrees or how much money I got or what kind of car I drive. It's like I have maintained an image to somebody that I'm a person of value. That in their adulthood, when they can be doing anything, that they're like, I still want to talk to you. So in things like that, to see your sister, I was like, I always wanted to be an attorney. I went to law school, and then to see her, it's like, that's the little baby. I remember her. She was like 9 or 10 years old. Oh my God. And then the last time I was at your mom's house,
Mhm.
I thought it was you coming in. I hadn't seen D in a minute. And I'm standing there in your mom and dad's house. And, I see some big tall person come in. And I'm thinking, oh, that's Jairus. Because I hadn't seen D. Man, it was so good to see that dude. And now me and D used to clown when he was little. I used to, because your dad would be gone playing basketball. And he would either be on the phone with D or Sarita, and I would be just harassing your brother. Like playing basketball, I'd be pulling his shorts. be grabbing his legs, I'd be hitting him, I'd be talking crazy to him. And your father would be like, do some more. That's right, that's what he needs. He needs to toughen up. That's right, knock him down again. Terry used to get so mad. And Serena would be like, stop telling him to do that. But you'll find out when you're looking at the success of your life, that's the success. It's not what job you got or your education. And don't get me wrong, you want those things. You want those things. But to see you guys, your mom, like for somebody to want to know you for 30 years, to keep in contact with you on a weekly basis. A lot of people don't have that. And your mom is somebody. Like your mom is the big timer in her own right. You can call it. And that we can have the same conversation that we had 30 years ago when she was a school teacher. And she's this big time figure in the system, and but when she called me, she's saying stuff that she ain't gonna say in front of nobody else. And she knows she can because we felt like that. But that's really what success is. You look at your kids, you look at your wife, your grandmother did everything she's supposed to do, right?
Right.
She owns property, she got a lot of money, but as she got into her 90s, dementia, her health, and you go like, I got that. Bring me my grandmother. No matter what, I don't care what it's going to be. Bring me my grandmother. That's when you are the man. That's when you're the man. When you're willing to take care of your people. And you're going to do whatever you got to do. That's so, I thank God I got enough money to do what I need to do. But it's the doing that's the success. It's not, money is keeping score. You die, whatever money you got, somebody else gonna get it. Your house, somebody else gonna get it. Your car, somebody else gonna get it. Nobody else is gonna get this. So when people say, do you see yourself with this, and this? The best part of my life is not the stuff that I have. It's the people that I know. It's the relationships that have endured. It's the appreciation for the privilege of seeing people grow. Seeing you get your master's degree, and you had nothing. You just playing basketball, some little shoes, and you played high school and college, and that's really the success. And I know that sounds kind of off, but just hold on to that.
Yeah, it doesn't sound off. It makes a lot of sense. I think because we're constantly getting different information about what's of value in life, and it's usually something tangible that like you could touch, or even not even something tangible. It's usually something that has something to do with like monetary gain or like status even. I think a lot of young people get lost in that frame of thought as opposed to just taking a long-term approach to things. Like one of the things that I admire about you, I haven't told you this before, but I admire about you in general. When I see you like work on your cars and just the gradual progress of it being the car being rusty, not looking as good as it looks now, and it's like a year later, like it's like a completely different vehicle, and you still diligently working on it and attacking it every day. it's like a long-term and sustainable approach. And I'm like, it's admirable to me because I'm like, okay, that's why I gotta ask him questions about how he able to maintain focus on that one thing for that extended period of time like that. So
you do that.
I know I do it to some degree, but I think
you couldn't have gotten a bachelor's degree without maintaining focus over years. You could not have gotten a master's degree without maintaining focus over years. You could not have developed your basketball game without maintaining focus over years. In all them years, stuff was happening to you. Different things was going on. Stuff that was a sure thing that you was like, oh, this is gonna happen, and then it didn't.
correct.
And you're like, wait a minute, I did everything I was supposed to do. I did this, but you still persevered. And then sometimes you just gotta go, okay, I gotta do a whole change up. So you have it. I've been doing it longer. That's the only difference. I just been doing it longer. So see, I'm old now. You all are seeing everything in my life is the stuff that's left that worked. Y'all didn't see the 30
we seeing the refined dynamic.
Yeah, y'all didn't see the 30 years of everything that failed.
Yeah, you age like wine, it get better with time.
But no, it's just after a while, like you try this in your 20s, you try this in your 20s, try this in your 20s, try this in your 30s, try this in your 30s, try this in your 40s, try this in your 40s, and 90% of that stuff failed. Well, if you come up on the brother in his 50s, well, all he got left is the stuff that worked. So you're like, yo, he got a house, he got real estate business, he got car business, he writing, he's a professor, and he works at the university in the library. He crushing it 5 different ways. Them the 5 from the 500
didn't work. That's amazing.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
So you end up now. This is where the problem comes about. Some people are so worried about the 495 that didn't work that they put all their attention on that, and they put all their attention on that they don't cultivate the 5 things they have. It's like being married. The best person in the world, the person that's made for you, the person that completes you, they're going to, at best case scenario, be 80% of what you want. 20% you're not going to get. They're going to be 80. That is your best person. So that means if you don't find your best person, it's going to be less than 80. We will get many times so caught in the 20% we don't have that we will risk or lose the 80% that we do have, looking for the 20% that we don't. So now I got this woman who does 80% of what I need, but I'm going to cheat with a woman that only got 20. Now, if I had $100 and I say I'm going to give you 80 and I'm going to keep 20, but I gave you 81s and you like the big bill, the single bill.
Just because of the way it feels or the aesthetic, the way it looks. Yeah.
So you gonna go, well, give me that one big bill and you can have these 81s. Would you ever do that?
No, it's too easy to lose 81.
People do that.
If I got one bill, I can keep track of.
But that one bill is less. It's harder to keep up with this 81s, but it's significantly than if you had this one bill. So because I don't want to do the work, I would rather have less because it's easy.
Mm.
That's how we got to think. That's how we got to think. But there are many people who go, oh, man, I'll do that. We don't really look at the numbers, man. We don't really look at the numbers.
I'm interested. How did you come up with an 80% rule? Did you read that somewhere? I'm looking
I'm
around.
gonna be honest with you. My wife and I have been married 100 years, and somewhere around 250 years, we were not seeing eye to eye, and I never watch religious TV. Well, no, that's not true. I rarely watch this particular person, and this was a long time. This may have been 10 or 15 years ago, but I had made it in my mind. When she comes home, I'm gonna tell her we gotta go, we gotta split. And TD Jakes came on TV. Not a person that I necessarily admire or read his books, watch him on TV, listen to his sermons. I don't. I don't find him interesting. I don't find him compelling.
It was just
He just doesn't do it for me.
complete happenstance this particular instant.
Right at that moment, that is what came on the television. And he was saying that about 80% and 20%. And I had to sit down and ask myself, is she 80%? I might give her 87, 88. I said, I need to sit my ugly self down before I mess up over whatever's going on right now. Marriage is not about right now. Marriage is the totality of the relationship, and it's bigger than the sum of its parts. My parents have been married over 56 years. And I remember somewhere around 51, 52, 53. I asked Daddy, because I had been married a long time by that time. And I was like, how did you do that? And he started laughing, joking. I'm like, no. It's real talk. How did you do that for over a half of a century? How do you stay engaged in this process? And he told me, he said, it's not about, you have to always remember it's bigger than you. It's bigger than your happiness. It's so many people tied to me and Tamika's marriage. It's people that don't know people our age married this long. It's people who don't know that they're men that make sure their wife has the best car, and that the husbands open the door for them and take care of them when they're sick. And we are their motivation of that couple, that we're that unicorn to them. And if we break up, how many people are going to be let down? Oh my God. One, all the people that come to my Christmas party every year, they're going to be out of Christmas. Not to mention our kids, how's that going to affect them? Our in-laws, how's that going to affect them? Our friends, you see how big this network goes out just if we let something like a disagreement or being unaligned. No, you can't do it. It means you live for your community. And you have to take that in consideration before you make some of the decisions.
But see, that's a frame of thought that you just gave. Everybody doesn't think like that. And I think if everybody did think like that, we would have a lot more harmonious work. If you were living for community, or environment, and you understood the influence that people who are doing well or seen as doing well have over onlookers or people that are, because a lot of times people are looking for direction. I mean, I previously mentioned that, you know, you're somebody that I admire. So when I see what you have, and you know, I remember from the time I was young interacting with you, and I'm like, okay, he has that, so that means it's possible for somebody like me to develop into something like that eventually. Like, it's at least a possibility. And so many young people, you can't be what you don't know exists, right? And it's a lot of young people that don't have a Darnell that they can talk to on a regular basis.
This is a poem that I keep around me, and I recommend you keep it around you. It's by George Bernard Shaw.
Okay.
It's called The Splendid Torch.
Okay.
For a long time, I tried to live a biblically based life. And once I moved away from religion, I just grew out of it intellectually. Um, I didn't move away from a moral code. I didn't move away from the knowledge and understanding of a creator of the universe.
I was just gonna ask that.
But but it's just because primarily religion is somebody said, God said. That's it. Well, God gonna talk to you as easy as God gonna talk to me. So just because somebody said it, well, let me just ask and find out for myself. You know what I mean? So I took the time to study um, the Abrahamic religions, Buddhism, Hinduism. You know, your primary religions, and pretty much they all tell the same story. And I had some, being a historian, a lot of a lot of a lot of things just don't line up in some of the inspired writings. So that just caused me to move away from that. But it's called The Splendid Torch. It's by George Bernard Shaw. And I haven't had something better aligned with my mindset than this writing. I may find something better, but it's on my desk at work, and I keep it on my phone, and I keep it, you know, in the house. I keep this around me. This is the true joy in life, the being used for a purpose recognized by yourself as a mighty one, the being a force of nature instead of a feverish, selfish little clod of ailments and grievances, complaining that the world will not devote itself to making you happy. I am of the opinion that my life belongs to the community, and as long as I live, it is my privilege to do for it whatever I can. I want to be thoroughly used up when I die, for the harder I work, the more I live. I rejoice in life for its own sake. Life is not a brief candle for me. It is a sort of splendid torch, which I have got a hold of for the moment, and I want to make it burn as brightly as possible before handing it on to the next generation. That best sums up my mindset. I got just about every Bible you can have, every religious book back there in the library, and brevity is the soul of wit. The smarter you are, the more brief you can encapsulate something. And I have not found a book. I have not found that is the best writing to encapsulate my understanding of the world. I don't know what happened before I was born. I don't know what's going to happen after I die. And religion seems to be heavily caught up in those two things that we're never gonna find out. we just don't know. Like we don't know what happened before we were born. And we don't know what's gonna happen after we die. We know what we hope, we know what we heard, we know what we think, but we don't know. What I do know is Jairus is sitting here right now. I know that. And whatever I can do for him right now, that's what I know what to do. And every day I wake up, I'm gonna function like that. Because I found the more I do, the better off I am. So I was able to go 26. I'm worried if I'm gonna be all right. I'm worried if I'm gonna have a house and a car, this and that, this and that. But now at beyond 50, I know I'm gonna be all right. I've been all right for so long, right? I'm cool with that. I don't have to worry about that. What do I have to worry about? I have to worry about stopping everything that I do for the people that's important for me. I got to worry about changing my life. If my father-in-law gets dementia, bring him down. No, we don't figure it out. That's in more than any religious book I've read, because that's really what those books are for. They're parables, they're analogies to inspire you to function at your zenith. That's really what it is. It's for you to function at your best self. And when you're functioning at your best self, you enjoy life better, because everything on earth is here for only two reasons: for you to enjoy it and for you to learn from it. That's it.
So you mentioned happiness, and you said that your father said that things lasted for as long as they did, or where his relationship with your mother was able to withstand the test of time because it was bigger than him and it wasn't always about his happiness. I would venture to say that understanding that is a deeper understanding, because it's you won't even register happiness without having sadness. Like one can exist without the other. So it's a much more sustainable frame of thought to say it's good to be happy, but it's not priority.
Well, you
especially if you've built something. You know what I'm saying? You talked about you and your wife, you know, and you guys around the time, at least imagining the time frame, around the time you guys have been together for a long time. So you had built something up until that point. So it was like,
but now here's something you don't know. I would not be married if it was not for your parents. I'm gonna make it more specific. I would not be married if it was not for Jairus Stevens. I don't know if I ever told you this story. We were at your mom's job at the Career Center, and I met your dad. And this was when I really didn't know him good, but we were cool. Like we were cool. But it's very few people that, and I've had the pleasure of having this man less than 10 times in my life. But with your parents, I was just as cool with your dad as I was your mom. So I could be at your house chilling with your mom, your dad come home, she walk off, I'm there another 2 or 3 hours talking with him, or the reverse, you know. So, but I knew your mom first, because your dad was out, I think it was Argentina playing basketball. Comes back, and I'm cool enough to be comfortable with him, but I don't know. So we're sitting outside of Sarita's office. You weren't even born. You weren't born yet. D was little. We're sitting there, and my father was a big guy, and he was in shape, so he diesel, right? And I always called your mother my big little sister. She's older than me, but she's like my little sister. I'm kind of protective of her too, and I really don't know your dad. And he was sitting there and just said, Sarita. She said, Sarita. She said, get out here now. Like, now, I'm like, they married, so I don't, and he's like, don't have me get up. And I'm like, he messing with her. He's just irritated because she ain't said nothing. She ain't moved. Don't have me get up, Sarita. And now I'm like, oh, see, my parents didn't. I didn't see my parents interact like that. I was like, he's irritating her. That aligns so much with my personality. I was like, that's cool. Most childish thing in the world. But that registered with me. And I was like, I would like to have somebody I can do that to. And it sounds hilarious. Stupid. But I'm going to tell you, I was like, that is so cool. And she's just like, now I'm thinking this big old dude is mad. And he about to get up. But I'm noticing what he's saying.
Was he smirking a little bit?
I wasn't catching that. I'm just looking at, this big. But then I started noticing, he keeps saying don't have him get up. But he ain't, because the first time I met him, he was upset with Sarita. And I let him in the back door, and so I knew what he looked like when he was upset. But man, when I saw that, that was the funniest thing in the world to me. And I promise you, Tamika has caught a horrible time of me meddling with her just like that. But I just was like, that is off the chain. And so yes, you go through, you do spend a lot of time invested in a person. And there are no perfect people, and you're not perfect.
Absolutely not.
But so many people, number one, don't look for that right person. We're looking for hypergamy is a huge problem. They gotta have this much, especially from female to male. It's like how much money you got, how much, what you got. To find that person that makes, this is how you stay together. When you find somebody that makes you like you better, you will keep them out of your own selfishness. I'm going to run that to you again. My wife made me into a person that I am so proud of being. I will put up with whatever she does just so I can remain who she makes me. So it's out of my own selfishness that I would not risk my marriage with her, that I would not divorce her, that I wouldn't do something to her to hurt her, because I need her here to make me like me better. Because I didn't have all the stuff that I have before I got with her. So the better spouse you are, the more stable your relationship is. If I make you better, now, if I'm making your life worse, I don't have it. But that's something that a lot of people aren't hip to.
Yeah, they probably, because that's most people don't even think that way.
Bro.
Like the ability to make that assessment that my interactions with my wife have my success is a derivative of her being here. Like, and being able to articulate the fact that selfishly, like that part specifically, like the part where you're like selfishly, I would never risk that.
Oh no.
Because the person, most people would say, oh, not that you don't love your wife, but I love my wife, and because I love her, I would never risk it. You like, no, she's made me so much better of a person that I don't think that. I mean,
I wasn't Dr. Bolton before her.
Yeah.
I wasn't the boss before her. I didn't own no businesses when I met her. I didn't have no masters. I didn't have no. I wasn't Professor Bolton. I wasn't an author before I met her. People did not respect me for my intelligence before I met my wife. People thought I was a bright guy, but it wasn't like when I talk to people, you can tell they buffing up their best conversation. They the hypotenuse of the isosceles of the like, bro. Your family, my family treats me different since I've been married to Tamika.
When you say your family,
now a lot of things have happened, but because break it down. We got to keep it all together. Your wife makes you better. You're better, therefore you become more productive. But my wife has a wonderful heart, and she brings that out in me. So now with what we have produced, we use it well to bless people, right? And then you become this pillar of responsibility in your family. So you're not just the youngest of the first set of grandkids. Your productivity has, in her beauty inspiring your beauty, have allowed you to use your resources in a way that blesses people. That when we took my grandmother was the oldest member of the Boltons or Yates. So both sides of the family, right? She's the matriarch. She is chronologically the oldest person in the family. Because she made me this person is more productive, good hearts, use it responsibly. We bring in my grandmother to take care of her, and we help out our family. You get pushed to the head of the family where people are, oh, this is a person, this ain't my cousin, this ain't Warren's youngest son. This that guy that if something go wrong, he there and it's getting fixed. So people approach you different. That's known you your entire life. So those are the many things that, over the course of your marriage, you have to take inventory of what's going on. And who's responsible for this? Now, did my wife give me my athletic prowess? No. I had that before. I had that for I met her. Did she give me the ability to go state to state doing sports? Is that how I got in the league? No. Everything else, I didn't have before her. And I watched all of the things I built by myself kind of fall off. And the things that she gave me or developed with me are the pillars of who I am now. So that's why, you just have to be honest with yourself as to where your power lies. And then the inspiration of your children. Dude, I was always an average student. And it wasn't because I wasn't intelligent. It was just, I didn't see the utility of of education. You know, I always enjoyed the learning process, but I didn't see how this applied.
Where is it applicable?
Yes. But I'm gonna tell you, once I had kids, I received 2 B's. That's it. Everything else I've gotten is A's. I graduated, and the only reason I got 2 B's was because I hadn't been in school for 20 years when I went back for my master's. And I got 2 B's my first semester. I graduated with a 3.82 for my master's degree. I graduated with a 4.0, my PhD. Your kids looking at you. When I got my PhD was the fastest PhD ever in the history department of UNT. I got a 7-year degree in 2 years and 1 semester.
Whew. Yeah, that's wicked. That's crazy.
But your kids are looking at you. And everything you're doing, you're thinking about, you know, how is this going to inspire them? How is this going to motivate them? If I do it, it becomes real. It's like, oh, wait a minute, that's just you know, that's Darnell. If he did it, all right, I can do it. At the very least, I can ask him how he did it. Then you become that guy. So it's so many things that are connected to success, but you know, when it comes down to it.
Now, how does occupying that position make you feel? Because you are that. I mean, you're that for me. I haven't. I mean, I finished my master's, but I know in my head like I'm gonna go get my PhD.
Mm-hmm.
But so when I'm talking to you and I'm asking about that, I'm just inquiring as to where your thought process was. You know, when you got that PhD from UNT, the fastest that it's ever been done. Like, what was the frame of? Were you striving to finish it the fastest?
No, I was too old. I'll be honest with you. I had my brother passed away at 52.
You told me that.
And tomorrow is not promised. Tomorrow is not promised. My sister-in-law passed away at 50. Tomorrow's not promised. So I don't, you know, they're dragging my feet, all that. I got to get it in. I got to get it done. So, and I don't think like everybody else. I was looking at the program, and one thing that sped it up was, okay, they say do it this way, but how my mind works is, what would make more sense if I got to take all these classes and I got to write a paper in all of these classes? Why wouldn't I make each paper a chapter in my dissertation? So if I got to take 20 classes and do 20 papers, by the time I finish these classes, I should have 20 chapters, and they already been checked by the professors. My dissertation should be done.
Wow. So when you did it that way, did you have to overshoot the quality of the paper? How long were these papers? What was the requirement? Because I know, you know, a dissertation chapter can be anywhere from 30 to 100 pages.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It was like this. In some points, I put 2 papers together. So let's say one was a 25-page paper and another was a 30-page paper, but they were similar in nature. I could put those 2 together. So if I'm talking about Abraham Lincoln and colonization, and Abraham Lincoln and the American Colonization Society with James Mitchell, well, I can put those 2 together, right? And so that makes this chapter. Some stuff I wrote so early in my program. By the time I got here, I wrote much better here than I wrote there.
So you can refine the quality of the product without having to just write a whole entire new chapter.
Right.
I can just I'll refine this one.
But then what happened? Because really I would have done it in 2 years. It took an extra semester because I actually wrote 2 dissertations. My first dissertation, 2 out of the 5 people didn't like it. And so they made me write a completely different one where I had to go 100 years back from my
starting point.
Yeah, from my area of study, because I studied 1860 to 1865. They had me go all the way back to 1776. And I'm like, what? I mean, I went to Jamestown, Virginia before 1776. I went all the way back to 1607, which ended up helping me in my book because now I have this knowledge. But I had a plan that allowed me a base, and I was able to work off of the plan. But either way, it worked. It worked out, but it still comes back to what is your inspiration? And it's, a lot of people, God is my inspiration. Okay, what does that mean? What does that mean? There is no question in my mind. My wife is not a manifestation of God for me. Because when somebody's been put, even if you say, well, no, she's not God, she's an angel, all of us are God, okay? If you're going to go by the Bible, it says that God made man, and man was not animate until when? God breathed the breath of life into his lungs. Well, that means what animates us is that peace of God that's born. If we're going to take the Bible literally, that's God in us. So all of us are God, which is why God is omnipresent, which is why God is all-knowing, which is why God can be a part of everybody, because all of us are God in motion. That's what animates us if we're going to follow the Bible, which is why you got to treat everybody right, because you're God, because you got the same breath in your lungs that Adam had. So if you're God, how can I mistreat you? That's why we got to treat our brothers right. That's why we got to be patient. That's why I have to be slow to wrath. That's why I got to turn the other cheek. So if you're going to take it that way, all of this stuff comes from your inspiration. And if you can recognize your inspiration and appreciate your inspiration, you will do great things. And rarely is your inspiration you. Man, I did this. Sometimes your inspiration is negativity.
Darnell, that's real deep. Because when I apply that to my actual life, I think about basketball, right?
Mm-hmm.
And basketball is a very integral part of who I am as a person and how I developed, because it always gave me something to be responsible for.
Okay.
So you mentioned you didn't understand the utility of school. I was eternally tickled a little bit when you said that, because I did not start doing schoolwork until I realized, like, okay, I can play basketball on a high level.
Yes.
I can play basketball on a high level. So I'll do my schoolwork. And again, I was never just a trash student. It was just a matter of me.
It had no utility.
It didn't have. It wasn't. I couldn't see where I would apply these things, for how I see myself as a person, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I remember, I'll never forget, I was in the 11th grade, and it was a lady at my school. Her name was Miss Sulich. You know, God rest her soul, she died. But she was like, hey, you know, you can actually go to school for this. Like, you should probably be paying attention to what classes you're taking and your eligibility for the clearinghouse, right? So I when she said that to me, I started spending a lot of time with her because I was trying to get my classes in order. So that was one thing that I feel like was a connection just between you and I that I just hadn't previously registered prior to this conversation. Another thing was when I played basketball, I always performed better when my mother was at the game.
Really?
Yes, but it was because my child brain is like, I can't let you outdo me in front of my mom. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, and not only that, you know, people don't know, you know, after my dad died, my mom used to be sad a lot of times, but she enjoyed watching me play basketball. So I knew it wasn't much I could do to make her feel better, but I'm like, if I can do this and I can do this well, then she'll be happy. So it was games I had 0 points in the first half because my mom wasn't there, and finished with 25 when she walked in the game. It was so bad that my high school coach was like, Miss Stevens, you can't
got to be here by the first one.
You can't miss no game.
We pick you up.
You can't miss no more game. You know, but I mean, it's interesting because I feel the same way. Like I think when I look at myself and I look at the legacy that I represent, right? That motivates me more than just the status of being able to say, oh, I got this. You know, like, I'm like, okay, I want to go and get my education because, you know, my mom showed me the value of education growing up. My grandparents showed my mom the value of education growing up.
Oh, you know it burns your mother up. I got my PhD before. You know it burned up.
I think it inspired her. She was like, man, he did that so quick. I just keep going. Just stay with it.
She got that one all while I was talking to her. She said, yeah, you know. Yeah, you know. Yeah, you know. When I told her, I said, you know, doing my dissertation. Yeah, you know, okay, I'm gonna get myself together. Man, when I graduated, your mom was like.
But that's even driving home.
Iron sharpens iron.
That's driving home what you're saying even more, because sometimes it's not about what you feel like you want. I mean, sometimes and I think it's important to try to find something intrinsic to motivate you. But I guess now that you brought that to my attention, I've never really understood the practicality of it, because I don't think I'm always intrinsically motivated, if I'm being frank and honest.
That's why who is around you is so important. That's why
you dropping jewels right now.
There's a reason why I stay in contact with your mother. There's a reason why your mother and I have the education that we had. I was talking to your mom before her for her dissertation. You know, she
before she defended.
Yeah, she defended. She, you know, playing that cool as a cucumber Sarita, but I've been knowing Sarita 30 years. I call him like, yo, sweetie, we good? Why would I not be good? It's what it is. I mean, you know, whatever. You know, she was that Sarita. But I know the other Sarita is coming, right? I know the other Sarita coming. Bro, I called her 2 hours before her dissertation. Darnell, I'm sweating. I can't remember nothing. I'm going to forget everything. Bang. Stop. You have been you since I've known you. Your dissertation is the last 35 years of your teaching.
Literally.
If you forget the last 35 years of your life, we got much bigger problems than a dissertation.
There's something going on there, but 100%.
So she's like, all right, I'm good. And so we have our little talk. She goes, and I jump on there. And I don't know. I may have been in tears. I don't want to lie and say I was, but I don't want to lie and say I was. I was like, all right, all right, all right, all right. So she finishes, she crushes it. Everybody's like, you the man, blah, 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 blah. Now, I have to embarrass her because I'm Dr. Bolton, but they don't know that. I'm Darnell. Everybody's like, oh, you walk on water, you're this, you're that. And so they say, okay, now all of the panel that say what they're gonna say. And they say, now everybody who has been muted can congratulate her. And the first person they unmute is me. And I go, I'm really not impressed. And man, the look on her face was like, only he would do that. And then she goes, and you can see like everybody on the panel was like,
they was confused. Everybody was confused.
Look, that's fam. Y'all gotta ignore him. He's slow.
He was like, shut up,
but that was my way. One time, your mom was, she was down about something, and I don't remember what it was. And I was being sweet to her, and I was encouraging her and all that. She was like, Darnell, you can't be nice to me because that's gonna make me feel worse. Be yourself. Now I was like, forget you then. There you go. Thank you. Because when you switch it up sometimes people just need you to be you. You don't have to be anything else but you or who they know you to be. And again, the best example I have of that came from my wife. My wife obviously is a nurse, and she worked in hospice for a long time. And she used to have this patient that they used to always joke with each other, and they would call each other the wrong name. Like she would call her any name that began with T other than Tamika. Hey, Tajana, Talana, so and Tamika would call her crazy names. And they always, had like a jovial banter between each other. Well, when the lady was finally dying, they called Tamika and it's like, yo, you need to come in early. She's not gonna make it off the shift. So Tamika comes in early, and when she walks in the room, she was like, thank you for coming, Tamika. She didn't call her no crazy name. And she was saying, Tamika said, well, what's going on? She said, I'm afraid. I know I'm dying. I'm scared. And I don't want to die alone. And this, and this. And Tamika takes her hand and she leans real close to her face and she says, you probably are dying. And that's okay. But please don't die until the next shift because I don't want to do the paperwork. And the lady bust out the laughing. And I was like, when she told me that, I knew like this happened. And I was like, bro, how could you say that? That is like the worst thing that you should ever say. And she schooled me. She said, Darnell, when I walked in the room, now this is how cold she is and what she does. She said, I walked in the room, first thing she called me Tamika. Second, she told me she was scared. If I would have broke who I am, it would have scared her more. So I had to bring it down and let her know we can chill. We can still be us. What's going to happen is going to happen, but it's still us. I said, how did your mind calculate that?
That fast.
In seconds. But it was just like you in basketball. You just wanted to do it. You didn't really learn a whole lot of stuff. You learn how to put some sequences together. But I remember when you first started playing, that was just like D had to learn the game. And D didn't love the game as much as you loved it. You just had it. Like it just came. And so that's how she is with what she does. Her mind automatically calculates emotion, medical needs, care practices, and she can apply it in a way that is going to put you in the best spirit and put a smile on your face. That's just that's just something that you can't teach. Because you can't teach that. So, when you recognize that in other people, you just understand it's a privilege to be around them. And you begin to see the light in yourself when you see the light in other people. A lot of your experience in the world is going to be through the prism of your attitude.
It's not about what happens, it's about your reaction to it, right?
Well, not just that. How you see it will depend on the veil you're looking through. If you are a negative person, you're going to see negativity in the world. If you are a positive person, you're going to see positivity in the world. If all you're seeing is negative stuff, something wrong with you. Because a person that is optimistic is going to see the silver lining. But a pessimistic person is always going to see the dark cloud.
Silver linings. Silver linings. That word has been coming up so much in my life right now. I've been trying to find the silver lining in all of the experiences that I thought were devastating.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I think about, the death of my father, for example, like for a long time, it felt unfair. But as I got older, we talked about this, but you don't see yourself the way other people see you,
Mm-hmm.
and people would always tell me like, oh, you have a way of making things that are big seem lighthearted and manageable, right? And I think about like, okay, that's probably because my father died when I was young and he was in good health. And I didn't even realize that when I say good health, I mean externally at least. So
no, he was in good health.
Yeah,
that was a fluke.
Yeah, I mean, at least just looking at him, I mean, he probably could have ran 2 miles on the day he died. But
he was hoping. Wait, leg extension. That's what he was sitting on. The dude was always having health conversations you did not want to have with him. You got to get a colonic, Darnell. Bro, what is a colonic? What, they take a hose and they shoot water up. What? Dude, look, if that's what it takes to be healthy, I don't want to do. He was always talking about eating right. Like I said, he was hooping. They had lost in that day. Your father did not like losing. He was telling guys, nah, man, no, we gonna get, we running this next, we running this back. They ain't gonna get us. Went over there, and he got to keep his pump on, and he was on the leg extension. And so there was no known heart issues, and he had to take regular physicals all of his life because he was a professional athlete. They would have caught it. It was just like my brother. Like when people ask me, well, what happened? And the best answer was, it was time. Because nothing different happened with Carchet. He had no new ailments that he had not had for the past 30 years. It was just nothing. It was just it. It was nothing could be done. So yeah, he was, yeah, he didn't drink. He didn't do no drugs. He didn't smoke. No. If we go to my Range Rover right now, I believe it's in my console. It's the little picture from your father's funeral. It's still in my car. I kept it in my Cadillac for years, and when I got rid of that car, I took it out, and you could barely see it. It's been a while,
20,
but
almost
it's
20,
in my car right now.
almost 20 years.
Yeah.
But when I think about that situation, it was just when something like that happens, there's no real way to make sense of it.
Mm-mm.
And if you're not careful, you'll be bogged down by it forever.
You know what I had to do? Your dad helped me. Your dad's situation kind of helped me. Ultimately, it was a part of it for real. When Cartier passed away,
right?
I can never make no sense out of your dad. That never made sense to me. But what I could do was say, I was lucky to know him. I was lucky to know him. With my brother Cartier, when he was born, they told my parents to leave him at the hospital because he would be a crib death. Now this was back in 1970, so it was really 60s. They was like, he's not gonna make it. They didn't know the severity of his retardation, but they just thought he was gonna die. And they said that he's not gonna live a year. Carson made it. I think Carson was 52. So I'm like, we were supposed to get a year, and we got a half a century out that joint. We won. If I didn't let him know how much I love him in 52 years, I wasn't gonna let him know. So, there's some things that you don't. It doesn't make sense. It just is what it is, and that goes back to the conversation in marriage. Sometimes we can have a problem that's so big, it just is what it is. I'm sorry, you ain't gonna fix it. You can't take it back. But you just say it is what it is, and y'all stay together. Those Damascus experiences like that, losing your dad, losing your brother, losing your friend, and you just have to learn how to say it is what it is. But your dad was such a, well, it speaks for itself. You and I sitting here. What kind of person did he have to be for me to be talking to his grown son 20 years later? That's an impact that you make on somebody. Going back to the original question about success, that's the legacy of success. I've been gone for 20 years, and this dude is still watching over my kids. Not a brother, not just somebody who I gave a kind word to. It made that much of an impact on. That my kids can call him 20 years after I'm gone, and he'll do anything for them. That's the kind of guy your dad was. And all he was nice. He didn't give me $100 every time he saw me, or it wasn't nothing about money or nothing like that. That's the guy I want to be. I want to be that guy where somebody goes, oh, that's Darnell's son? Do anytime. That's when you are somebody. I never saw your father play basketball unless he was playing against me. I never saw him Like I saw him on video, like when he hit the shot at Iowa State. Everybody saw that. But like in real time, like watched him play. So it wasn't like so Barry Stevens wasn't this basketball star.
It wasn't Barry Stevens, the basketball player. It was Barry Stevens, the man.
Yeah, it was my friend. It was as soon as you saw him, he started smiling, you started smiling because you know he was gonna say something. You know he was gonna say something. He's gonna have some jokes. It's just gonna be jokes. And so that's success. That's success because your money, whatever money he had, was gonna be gone by now. Whatever money you died with 20 years later, somebody else got it as whatever. But to have lived a life just being nice, that's all he did. That's all he did that made that much of an impact on me. That's success. That's what you want to strive for. That when I'm not here, when somebody hears my name, they're dedicated to me. You know, they looking out after my wife. They, you know, she can call her anytime because of me. Well, if my kids call him, he come. That's when you know you somebody, you done something. You know, everybody, you know, a lot of people think basketball, he get drafted, he's the man on campus at college. I wasn't around for none of that. I wasn't around for nothing. But that was where you find these silver linings, you know, even in those situations. And the more you do it, the better you get at it. But like I told my oldest brother, he and I have gone through everything together. But to go through everything together, you got to go through everything together. You got to go through burying your wife. You got to go through burying your brother. You got to go through crying together, laughing together. You got to go through them dark times and come out. So everything is everything. So life is no flickering candle, man. It's a splendid torch, player.
That's a good way to end it. That's a good way to end it right there.
Yeah.